Congratulations, America. The federal government is shut down. That was easy. You probably didn't notice unless you're cashing a check at taxpayer expense like the 740,000 federal workers who are now furloughed, or the army of millions of tax-funded left-wing NGOs that are now cut off. If you're just tuning in, the federal budget is voted 1 year at a time, and it ran out at midnight. Meaning, in theory, the government is not allowed to spend any more money. It is shut down. Of course, the vast majority of government, at least 70%, is exempt and keeps grinding. That includes so-called mandatory spending like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, as well as essential functions like the military, air traffic, courts, and the Department of Justice. The Federal Reserve sadly keeps going since it literally prints its budget in the basement. Now, historically, politicians fear shutdown since our rogue federal oligarchy tries to make them as painful as possible. So rather than cutting, say, welfare to illegals, or gender transitions for federal prisoners, they cut school lunches, firefighters, and shutter national parks, called the Washington Monument Strategy, or Firemen First. But given Donald Trump alone gets to decide what's essential, he can keep the stuff voters want and toss the rest, raising the tantalizing prospect that a shutdown could actually be popular, in which case it could go on for a long time. Now that's fun because shuttering a third of the federal government would instantly balance the budget. It would lay off roughly 740,000 federal workers, in addition to the millions of defunded NGOs. Now, combined with the DOGE layoffs, that would mean more than half of federal workers outside the Post Office and Department of War would be permanently fired. The key is how long does the shutdown last? Because there's a magic number, 61 days, where Trump can permanently lay off those federal workers. This is because you have to give federal workers 60 days notice of termination, called reduction in force. So if you're still at shutdown at day 61, you complete the termination. They are gone. On the other hand, if you don't terminate them, then when government tragically reopens, they get back pay for the entire shutdown, even though they didn't work. Now, 61 days would be by far the longest government shutdown. The current record holder is 35 days back in 2018 over Trump's border wall. That one had so little impact, you probably don't remember it. Now, back then, people like Rush Limbaugh urged Trump to keep going, but of course, legacy media was pounding rhinos while Dems controlled the House, so Trump had to give up. This time, he does not have to. Legacy media ain't what it used to be, and rhinos should fear their voters instead of a crippled legacy media. So as Sex brought to you by I Trust Capital, prediction market Kalshi is currently projecting just 8 days of shutdown, with 13% odds it lasts longer than 35 days. That implies either Republicans cave, boosting Obamacare subsidies or Medicaid for illegals, or that Democrats cave, saving their government workers despite their Antifa wing and donor wing demanding a fight. So odds are we will not get to that 61-day paradise. Instead, Congress will kick the can once more. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.